Okay, so you asked me to talk about what it was like before I became a sober sister. And I will have to, oh, I am already crying. Because all I can think of is what it's like after. But what it felt like before was a cycle of, like a spin cycle. I spun from, okay, tonight I'm not going to drink. I'm good. I don't feel that great because I didn't sleep that great. Not totally hungover, but just don't feel awesome. And then by 5 o'clock, okay, I'll just have one. And then one became two. And then I wouldn't sleep again. And then I'd tell my husband, and then he'd say, okay, I got to cut you off after one tonight. So then when I'd try to cut off after one and he'd leave the room to go to the bathroom, I'd sneak the second one. And now you think, well, what's two? Well, they're IPAs. So that's like 2 for 1. Each beer was like 2 beers, and I love IPAs. But they didn't love me. And it was just that spin cycle. I don't want to drink. I do want to drink. I love my beers. I look forward to my beers. At the end of the day at work, I'd text my husband, put a beer in the freezer. It was so joyous. But ultimately it wasn't. It was like a lie, because the joy faded. And then I would think, well, I need the beer or the wine to relax me at night and let me fall asleep. And then every night I'd wake up at 3 in the morning with a little spin. And then I'd say at 3, well, tomorrow I'm not going to drink. So for me, and then meanwhile, I knew and am close to several friends that are in a 12-step program, AA. So I'd say, well, this is how I drink. What do you think? And they'd say, you're not an alcoholic. Don't worry about it. Just let it go. But see, I couldn't, because I knew inside there was still something that had hooked me. And then I would try to talk myself into it's okay. But again, it was like this, I know what it was. I felt like I had this bipolar or two-sided or two personalities fighting each other. And so that was my pain. So the pain also involved talking to people, and no one got me. Because either people said, you don't drink that much. Well, it was mostly, you don't drink that much. You're fine. Just let it go. But I couldn't. And then probably 4 months before I met Jen and Sober Sisters, I told someone, and she said, why don't you just give it a break for a month? And I was like, okay. And I wrote down my list, what to do instead of drinking. And I did it for 7 days. But then something came up, and I was like, well, I want to have a glass of wine with everyone. And I went to taste it, true story, and it didn't even taste good. It was wine. But I still drank the whole thing, and I was like, you know what? I did a week. See, I'm not hooked. But then I went back to the cycle, and more wasn't enough. And then also, kept going on podcasts, and I was kind of listening to AA, and I was seeking and searching for my story. And I never hit it, because they were really end-stage alcoholics and lost family and friends and jobs and money and health. And I wasn't any of those things. And then Jen, Sober Sis, came up on a Sober Girls Guide in December of 2018, and I started listening. That's when I'm going to cry. And Jen was talking about being this healthy, athletic, hot yoga girl with green juice by day, but she drank by night. And just talked about the dissonance, cognitive dissonance, that the mental break that is in between those two things. And I got it. And I felt like I found my girl. I found my tribe. And she talked about Annie Grace and that book. I went out and bought the book right away, started reading it, and it just started realigning my body and my mind and my soul with what I believe how I was meant to live, which is without alcohol. And I can't thank Jen enough, and this whole Sober Sisters tribe. without it, I wouldn't be here today. I feel so free. I sleep better than I ever have. I have energy. My house is immaculately clean. Well, maybe not immaculate, but much more organized. I finished my day at work and I'm excited to go home. I'm tired. I might be tired, but before it used to be, I'm so tired, I just need a drink. And now I look back and say, wow, I was tired, and yet I want something that makes me more tired. And then I'd get checked out and I would do nothing. Not that doing nothing is bad, but now I'm connected. Another Sober Sisters here with me. And I'm not focused on the drink. I'm focused on my heart, my soul, my husband, my kids, my dogs. And I feel freedom and the bondage is gone. Thank you for listening.